Today is Wednesday, October 4th. The gavel is up for grabs. In an unprecedented move, the U.S. House Speaker was voted out of the job, and at this point, there's no clear successor. Also, the largest healthcare worker strike in American history is set to begin today. We'll tell you how patients could be impacted. Plus, what to know about the third COVID-19 vaccine just authorized in the U.S., today's test of the nationwide emergency alert system that will likely hit your cell phone, and a new partnership between Paris Hilton and X. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. For the first time in history, the U.S. House voted out its speaker. The most conservative Republicans, along with Democrats, succeeded in taking away Kevin McCarthy's speakership, leaving the U.S. House of Representatives without a leader. Already, McCarthy has said he's not going to run for speaker again, and now it's not clear who will be able to get enough support to take on the role. Before yesterday's historic vote, a rare debate played out on the House floor. Republicans were going up against Republicans, while Democrats just sat and watched. McCarthy's critics laid into him for what they say was a failure to get bigger spending cuts out of the Biden administration. But McCarthy's Republican defenders stood up for him, saying he negotiated and that was the right thing to do. And they accused the hardliners of sowing chaos to raise their own political profiles. As for the Dems, they've been meeting to figure out whether they'd support McCarthy or not. And they decided not to, since they don't exactly see eye to eye with him either. They brought up his vote to overturn the 2020 election results, his decision to open up an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, and more. And in the end, McCarthy was dethroned. So what now? Well, lawmakers are taking some time to regroup, leaving Washington until next week. Then they'll have to hold another speaker election that could be just as contentious as the last one, even though Congress will have just over a month left to avoid another potential government shutdown. So stay tuned. Unfortunately, we have to tell you about a shooting on a college campus last night. It happened at Morgan State University in Northeast Baltimore. The president of the historically black university said students were leaving a coronation ceremony during homecoming week and heading to a student center when the gunfire started. Students and faculty were notified to shelter in place, but that order has since been lifted. Ultimately, 5 people, 4 of them students, were shot. Though reports say they all have non-life-threatening injuries. Police are still investigating and still looking for the person or people responsible. At this point, authorities will not confirm if there was more than one shooter. Classes have been canceled for today, and counselors are available. The largest healthcare strike in American history could begin this morning. The healthcare system, Kaiser is struggling to reach a new labor contract with more than 75,000 employees. So the workers' union has set a deadline of 6 a.m. Pacific time today to reach a deal, or else they strike. And as we published early this morning, there's no deal in sight. If a strike does happen, it would be a big deal since Kaiser cares for 13 million people in 8 states, including California, Colorado, and Washington. Doctors and many nurses would not be part of it, but some nurses, therapists, and aides could be, along with staffers like X-ray and lab technicians, sanitation workers, pharmacy workers, and people in hundreds of other positions. That could have a considerable impact, especially since one of the main reasons workers are threatening a strike in the first place is because of an already existing staffing shortage. The union is demanding Kaiser raise pay to attract more workers and hire enough people to make up for all those who left their jobs during the pandemic. Kaiser has been urging workers not to strike, saying it could be life-threatening. And it says a strike is not justified since the company has already offered raises, just not as big of raises as the union has been pushing for. Plus, it says staffing shortages are an industry-wide problem, and it's been aggressively recruiting to fill more positions. Either way, Kaiser says it's been preparing, so even if a strike does happen, hospitals and emergency departments will stay open. But patients could face delays in getting appointments, and any procedures not considered urgent could be postponed. Former President Trump is expected to be back in a New York courtroom today as his civil fraud trial moves forward. But from here on out, he'll be limited in what he's allowed to say. The judge overseeing the trial imposed a gag order on the former president and others in the case. It was a response to Trump airing his grievances on social media about the judge's top law clerk. He posted her name, her picture, and claimed she was Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's girlfriend. He also said she was running the case and linked to her Instagram account, all while he was sitting in the courtroom. Then his campaign sent out his posts in an email blast. To be clear, Schumer has since said he doesn't know the clerk and is not involved in this case. And the judge said Trump's comments were, quote, unacceptable, inappropriate, and will not be tolerated. Now he says if anyone speaks about his staff, they would face serious sanctions. Trump has since taken down his posts about the law clerk, though he hasn't stopped posting or talking about the judge or the New York Attorney General who brought the case against him. In fact, Trump has said he's going to keep showing up to court this week just to expose the New York AG as a fraud. And when asked if he would consider testifying, he said he would at the appropriate time. To be continued. Heads up, you'll likely be getting an emergency alert on your cell phone today, but it is just a test. A nationwide emergency test on all cell phones, TVs, radios, and other wireless devices, as long as they're turned on and not on airplane mode. The alerts will let you know that it's just a test and that you don't need to actually do anything about it. The whole point is to make sure this warning system is working as it should be, and to make any improvements if needed, so that it works properly if the public really does need to be warned about an emergency, like dangerous weather, missing children, or other critical situations. People actually cannot turn off these alerts, and FEMA is required to test the system at least once every 3 years. This is a coordinated test from both FEMA and the FCC. The first alerts will start to go out at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time today. If your phones are on and in reach of a tower, you'll get an alert right at 2:20. But if not, you could get it any time over the next 30 minutes. Though each device should receive the message only once. More news is still coming up, but first, support for today's episode comes from Honeylove. You know the type of clothes and undergarments that are so soft and comfortable, they kind of feel like a second skin, and you almost forget you're wearing them. That's what you get with Honeylove. Honeylove has you covered for everything, from the everyday look to workouts to fancy events, thanks to their shapewear, bras, tanks, leggings, and more. I knew I would like their legging 2.0, but I love this pair of leggings even more than I expected. Right out of the box, I thought, oh wow, these are really smooth and soft. And then I put them on, and the hidden shaping panels make me feel really supported and confident. And the side pockets just put these leggings over the top as my new favorite. Not to mention, they're breathable but have anti-shear fabric and just look really cute on. So treat yourself to the best bras, shapewear, and leggings on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/newsworthy. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please be sure to support our show and let them know we sent you. Now, back to the news. Americans getting their updated COVID-19 shots this fall will soon have a third vaccine option. The FDA authorized Novavax shot for anyone 12 or older. It gives people a different option from the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines that are already available for everyone starting at 6 months old. While those vaccines use mRNA technology, the Novavax one uses a protein that resembles one found on the coronavirus to trigger an immune response. But like the others, Novavax says its version works against the COVID-19 variants circulating now. The company says it has millions of doses that will start to be available at places like doctors' offices and pharmacies in the coming days. So you've probably heard of space junk, the stuff that's either broken or just not being used anymore, but is still orbiting the Earth. Now, the federal government is starting to crack down on companies in an effort to get rid of some of it. The FCC fined Dish Network $150,000 for leaving one of its retired satellites floating too low in space, which could put it on a collision course with other satellites. Of course, that fine represents just a tiny portion of Dish's overall revenue, but the FCC still calls it a breakthrough since this is the first ever fine against a company over space debris. And now experts say the rest of the industry might start taking notice. The U.S. government just started issuing fines now since last year. It adopted a new rule that says operators have to dispose of their satellites within 5 years of the mission ending. Dish says it has a long history of flying satellites safely, but that it failed to live up to its responsibility this time around. It agreed to come up with a solution on top of paying the fine. New features are coming to some of the most popular tech platforms. For example, Spotify. The music streaming app says it's going to give Spotify Premium subscribers access to 150,000 audiobooks at no extra charge. That add-on started in the UK and Australia yesterday and will launch in the US later this year. Then there's X. The social media company signed a deal with heiress turned businesswoman Paris Hilton. She'll help launch a variety of content on X, also known as Twitter, including live shopping. Also this week, X owner Elon Musk tested out a video game streaming feature, which could give Twitch and YouTube some new competition. And finally, Zoom. The company best known for video conferencing announced Zoom Docs, meant to compete against Google Docs or Microsoft Word. And like Google and Microsoft, Zoom's version will be equipped with AI. It should be able to write, edit, summarize meetings, answer questions, and more. Zoom Docs will be widely available next year. Mariah Carey is already thinking about Christmas. The iconic singer announced what she's calling the Merry Christmas One and All Tour. Of course, she's planning to perform All I Want for Christmas Is You, as well as other holiday classics. Pre-sale tickets begin at 10 a.m. local time today, and general sales start Friday. The actual tour kicks off next month in California and wraps up on December 17th in New York City. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, this podcast is sponsored by Lumi. Want to smell better longer? Lumi is a doctor-created, uniquely formulated deodorant that is clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. In fact, Lumi is pH balanced, so that it's safe to use anywhere on your body if you want to. It's actually the first of its kind whole-body deodorant. It's also aluminum-free, baking soda-free, and paraben-free. You can choose from a variety of fresh, bright scents like clean tangerine, lavender sage, or toasted coconut. Honestly, I was looking for a better deodorant because my old one was just not working anymore, and I was really pleasantly surprised and excited about how effective Lumi is. I also love all the different products and options. Lumi's starter pack is really perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes that I like as well, and free shipping. So as a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code newsworthy at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com, L-U-M-E deodorant.com, and use the code newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. The American job market still seems to be surprisingly strong in the face of rising interest rates. This week, the federal government released new data that shows the number of job openings rose unexpectedly in August. Overall, employers posted 9.6 million open jobs, nearly 700,000 more than in July, while the numbers of layoffs and people quitting their jobs stayed pretty much the same. So yeah, no more great resignation. Though not everyone agrees on why that is. Most of the time, when quit rates drop, that's a bad sign for the economy, since it means people are less confident they'll be able to find a new job. But in this case, some analysts say people might just be happy where they are. In fact, the latest survey from Conference Board found Americans' job satisfaction is the highest it's ever been. So with lots of available jobs and mostly satisfied workers, what's the problem? Well, the Federal Reserve is still hoping to see the job market cool off, so businesses won't feel so much pressure to raise pay and then pass higher prices onto consumers, ultimately contributing to inflation. Well, thank you so much for joining us and listening today. We'll be back with another news roundup tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.